Hello everyone, and welcome to my tier ranker video of Mortal Kombat Fatalities Classic Edition. We're just going to be talking about the fatalities ranging from the original Mortal Kombat in 92 to Mortal Kombat Trilogy in 96. All this footage you're seeing here is from a YouTube channel called Maxu Plays, and he allowed me to use these clips in order to do my ranking. Let's take it all the way back to 92, and let's discuss these guys' first finishing move. Now, each of them only comes with one fatality, but that's fine. We'll get through this section pretty quickly. Let's start with Johnny Cage. Well, there is something to be said for punching somebody so hard in the chin that their head flies off. Believability does not factor into this whatsoever. I think this fatality packs enough punch to land itself into B tier. Moving on to Liu Kang's fatality in the original Mortal Kombat. It's going straight into F. I think damn near everybody would agree with me on that one. Moving on to Sub-Zero. Now we're on the opposite end of the spectrum.
Shame on people that produce that trash. It's child abuse in my judgment.
Fatalities like this got people like that to say things like that. Now, time for Kano. He rips your heart out, and that's it. See, all these are very simplistic. I'd say that this is kind of in the same class as Johnny Cage. Now, Raiden, he just electrocutes you so hard that your head explodes. I'm just going to give this one a C tier. Now, Sonya, I kind of like it in its simplicity as just like this clean skeleton. Now, Scorpion. Whatever he's throwing at you has a reason to make you into a skeleton. Whereas Sonya's, I don't know what fucking hocus pocus that was. And that's all the fatalities from the first Mortal Kombat game. Moving on to Mortal Kombat 2 now. So, considering what Baraka has going for him, two blades that come out his arms, which he can use to slice and dice the shit out of anybody, you would expect a little bit more than what you got from the fatalities of Baraka in MK2. It's not that they're bad, it's just that you would expect a little more. Moving on to Scorpion. So, I'm not really sure what's going on here. It looks like a throat slash, then torso removal, but the other fatality I like better. The skeleton model looks a lot better because it's glowing with flames, and it goes toasty. I feel that Scorpion's fatalities in MK2 is A tier. So once again, we have Mr. Thunder God performing fatalities that feel a bit underwhelming. He seems to just like touching you a lot. That's what he does with both fatalities here. Only one, he touches you soft, the other, he touches you hard. But in both cases, you just explode. Now moving on to Liu Kang, a character which possesses both an S tier and an F tier fatality. By showing these clips, I think you know which is which. One of them, the dragon, is amongst the most iconic fatalities in all of Mortal Kombat. The very dragon that he turns into is often associated with the logo of the goddamn game. I think this is just as iconic as Sub-Zero's spine rip fatality from MK1. But now this is where the criteria for making a video like this gets difficult because his second fatality sucks. It's the same fatality from the previous game, so it's just a copy and paste, just a cartwheel kick into an uppercut. Fascinating. I think what I'm going to do, and I'm sort of establishing the criteria of this video by doing this, I'm giving Liu Kang S tier, despite one of the fatalities being an absolute failure. Moving on to Kung Lao. One of his fatalities is very simple. Throws the hat, cuts your head off. The other one, I love. Kung Lao is going to get an S tier from me. I'm giving him top of S tier, even above Liu Kang. No, can't do it. Can't beat the dragon, baby. Now moving on to Johnny Cage. Well, we have his fatality back from MK1. He uppercuts your head goes bounce. And then the other one, he just rips your torso from your lower body and slams it on the floor. I love the look on his face while he's doing this to you, but this fatality certainly doesn't make a lot of sense either. I think their feet would lift off the floor before their torso ripped from their hips. I'm going to give this top a B tier. Now moving on to Reptile. The game creators clearly literally just did the same thing to save time. They just made Reptile go invisible in his version and then just had the same thing play out. And the second one, his tongue at your head, rips it off and eats it. And just the little details like him rubbing his belly make me give Reptile's fatalities A tier. Moving on to Sub-Zero. I'm not really sure what's going on with one. It looks like he just basically throws a fucking snowball at you and you just explode. And then his second one freezes you, uppercuts you, guts go everywhere. Nothing's ever going to match his spine rip from the first game, but these two fatalities are both pretty solid. I'm giving him A tier. Moving on to Shang Tsung. I like these fatalities, both of them. One of them, he turns into Kentaro, just so he has the ability to punch somebody so hard that they break in half. But his second one is the one that I love. I just really like this effect of the body turning to a gooey green skeleton after the soul is removed. Top of A. Okay, moving on to Katana now. So one of her fatalities, it's pretty lame. She just cuts their head off with her fan. Her second fatality, she kisses her victim non-consensually, which causes them to inflate and explode. And this one isn't bad, but I feel like averaged together, Katana's fatalities in MK2 is just C tier. Now Jax. Both fatalities are relatively simplistic. With the arm rip, they don't even really die, so it's not even really a fatality. I guess it will be in a matter of minutes, but just the way they stand there with those stubs makes this a high caliber, quote, fatality. And the other one, when he claps his hands over the opponent's head, it's kind of weird how the head explodes. It looks like those red shells from Mario Kart that land all about the ground. I'd say overall, though, these fatalities are above average. I'll give Jax a high B. And Melina. One of the fatalities, she just stabs the opponent many times in quick succession with her two sais. And I don't even really care for the sound effect happening here. So this fatality is probably a low D tier, but her other one, where she inhales her victim and then spits out their bones, that one is highly significant. It's talked about. It's memorable. But I still feel like we have to give Melina B. I'll give her upper B. Okay, everybody. Now let's discuss Mortal Kombat 3, Ultimate MK3, and Mortal Kombat Trilogy. Gonna lump it all together here and go through each of these characters' two fatalities. I'm not including babalities, animalities, brutalities, any other ality except fatalities. Now, you see, this here is one of the laziest fatalities, if not the laziest in the entire game. This is the victory pose that Motaro does anyway. So they couldn't even, line up the animation right. So this one's an easy F tier for sure. Well, that was pretty dumb. Severely lacking in creativity, and execution isn't that great either. For a boss character, I would expect more. Picking them up and just bending them over your shoulder does not warrant them exploding. I'm sorry. But you better make up for this fast, Johnny Cage. And he just does the same fatality he's been doing from MK1 and 2. Now, we're going in D tier for that. I'll put you above Khan, though. No, that's just really stupid. Oh, let's just have the fatality performer disappear so we don't have to bother doing any animation. And, we'll just have the same old limbs rain all over the screen like we've been doing. Okay, now we've just solidified ourselves into F Club. Come on, dude. That's some of the worst shit ever. Okay, that was awful, but it was kind of funny. Alright, that was a bit of a spectacle, I think. It's the sort of fatality you'd expect Raiden to have, and Raiden should have had something like that. But instead we have the Prince of Edenia doing it. I'm honestly going to say Rain gets a C tier. Alright, Noob Saibot. Okay. I didn't know that Noob Saibot was the ninja of clouds. The other one, Noob Saibot just turns into a shadow bouncer and just grabs the opponent and bounces up and down with stiff animation until they explode. I'm going to have this in D tier as well. Why would you open your mouth to receive a grenade like that? Okay, grenade in the mouth. And then we're just blowing up the world. It looks like one of the easiest fatalities to create, and it's also extraordinarily lazy, but it's also highly memorable and ballsy. Oh my god. Okay, both of those were bad. Why is the hero of Mortal Kombat turning into an arcade cabinet? Why is the hero of Mortal Kombat disappearing while his opponent spontaneously combusts? I guess I'll give him back a C, but even that feels like I'm being too generous. Okay, so see this here? I like the fatality, but I don't like it how it looks like the victim completely missed all the spikes. Much better. So one of Shang Tsung's fatalities I like in concept, not so much execution, and the other one I like both concept and execution. So you can sort of see a trend here. We're really struggling to find fatalities that are A or S tier. That's not going to do it. You see what I mean and continue to discover here? Look at this. The arms. The arms don't even separate. They're just floating there. They should have had blood pooling under his boot. Alright. And then this. Okay, that's one of the best fatalities of this game. Not that it has a lot of competition, but at least this skeleton is an interesting little gory model. I'm giving Sindel back of A. Okay, that is pretty amusing, especially with Liu Kang's mouth like that. And the fact that it's a clean skeleton is also kind of funny. And once again, the victim explodes into a mess of bones. I'd say all things considered, Kano's the back of B. Now, that feels too high. Definitely top of C. Jesus, Sonya almost hit herself in the back of her own head with that thing. Anyway, we've seen that before. I think this flaming skeleton model actually looks pretty good, although they do use it for several fatalities. Now, that one is one of my favorites of the entire game. It's amazing how far a liquefying sound effect and this little pile of goop down here can rocket a fatality up the tier board. Well, that was lame as shit. Again, they explode. Not surprised at all. That was not good. That was better, but not good. You don't pull ice apart. I really hope we start showing some improvement here, folks, because it feels like 1 in 10 characters have something unique going on. Okay, that fatality makes it sound like my phone was vibrating. As for the fatality, they're just sort of copying Predator or paying homage to Predator. In any case, it's pretty lame, and he blows himself up along with his opponent, so don't see how that's very beneficial. Alright, nice little touch there with the helicopter head, but what happens is something we've seen 20 times now. One of the best of the game. Not sure how Bones were able to make it out of the squisher intact like this, and like, why are these legs here with no like shoes or socks or pants on them? How did they get here? Whatever. I'd say Sector, we're gonna get near the top of A for that stuff. Well, that was horrendous. Okay, that one was significantly better. It's bloodless, but it ain't boneless. So good on them for doing something unique. Slightly amusing. I think she should have soccer kicked their head off at this point. Okay, that one's pretty funny. Just reusing the same skeleton from Sindel's fatality, but to great effect. Okay, so his head gets cut off and he's screaming about it. Then his torso gets cut off and he's still screaming about it. Then his legs get cut off and he's still screaming about it. Oh, just another excuse to make bones go everywhere. Okay, that one wasn't too magical, but at least the head ballooning was something different. Might be my favorite fatality in the entire game. So, interestingly enough, my favorite fatality in the game is bloodless. Are you serious? The screen just cuts to black and that's it? I thought I had already seen the laziest fatalities, but no, we've just set a new all-time low with that one. Okay, that's pretty good. I think what I'm going to do actually is give Sub-Zero overall mid-B. So we're back to Smoke. I guess he has 3 fatalities, but this didn't do anything to help him out of F tier. I think it would have been funnier if her victim stretched to be that tall, but then just simply fell over. I'll give her towards the back of D. Well, at least that's something a little different this time. I like what her face looks like here. It looks like she has a giant jawbreaker in her mouth like Ed, Edd, and Eddy. Okay, she totally missed on that kiss. And there is 17 rib cages. I'll give her top of B. Now look at that. Look how quickly, within one frame, they went regular Liu Kang to skeleton Liu Kang. Up the ass and out the dick. Overall, Jade feels like just a C to me. I think I'm going to have her at the back. Ermac taking lessons from Johnny Cage. Also taking lessons how to get into F tier. Slight improvement. Ermac is all about that telekinesis. The victim explodes, of course, but at least we get to see an actual attribute of Ermac's powers on display. I guess he's just going to leave the feet there. Guess he doesn't like the taste of those. That's the best fatality in the game. The pause between the acid melting the body and the scream the victim lets out is timed perfectly. Okay, so interesting situation with Scorpion here. I've come across 3 fatalities that he does. So one of the fatalities is a hand that comes up from the floor and drags the opponent down to hell, I guess. It's over with really quick, but, you know, what it's implying is horrifying. The second one is similar to Sub-Zero's in that the screen cuts to black, but this version is better because this one has a better reason to cut to black. I mean, it's like, what are 24 Scorpion clones going to do to a person? So I'd say overall, these fatalities, I'll give it back of A. Okay, moving on to Baraka. So it's the exact same 2 fatalities that we already saw in MK2. And yet the execution is worse than it was in MK2. You know, for that, I'm giving Baraka F tier. It's a real shame, man. Baraka should have what you would expect to be the best fatalities in the game. And in later installments, he arguably gets that, but not in 3. Okay, back to Raiden just touching you real hard. It's the same thing as Baraka. He's doing the same shit that he was doing in 2, just less impressively. So this, again, is F tier. The fatalities weren't even that great in the first place. This was an amusing walk back down memory lane, and I enjoyed putting this together, and I hope you enjoyed taking this walk with me today. And wherever you are, whatever time it is, I hope you're having a wonderful day or night.